Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to draw some bubbles coming out of a wand and a little bubble jar. And it looks three-dimensional, but it's actually flat. So I'm going to be teaching you how to draw some 3D looking bubbles and a bubble container. And so first thing you're going to need is just some paper and something to draw with. So we're going to be using markers. And if you want to create the bubble wand, you're just going to need another kind of like a half of a pair of chopsticks to be able to hold your bubble wand. So the first thing you're going to do, you guys ready to start?
Yeah.
Is we're going to draw this circle inside, the smaller circle inside. So take your marker or your pencil, and we're going to, you know what, I'm going to turn my paper horizontally so I have room to draw lots of bubbles here. So I'm going to draw over here an inner circle, and then I'm going to go around it with an outer circle. So that's my bubble ring. Then you're going to make a handle. So just two lines coming down. And you know, we're gonna, when you stick it on, it's gonna be a little longer. You don't have to make it so long. The wooden stick is there for you. And now we're going to draw the bubbles. So they don't really have to be perfect circles. And we're going to show these clear bubbles by just showing the light, the color that is reflected on the edges of the bubbles. So by using all these different lines of color, on the edges of our circles, we are going to be able to show some 3D looking bubbles. So yeah, so watch how I'm gonna make the bubble. If you wanna do this part with a pencil, you can. I'm gonna use a light colored marker to start. You know what, I'm gonna use a gray marker. First, we're gonna make the biggest bubble. So starting from the top of your inner circle, in the inside, not the outer part, because when you blow the bubble, it comes out of the inner circle. So starting from the top of the inner circle, you're gonna go and make your big bubbly shape. And it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. I mean, if you've all blown bubbles, they come out in kind of a loopy-ish shape. Then maybe there's some other bubbles that also got blown. So you can draw different size circles, smaller ones, larger ones. You want them to be kind of close together because when we're going to be cutting it out, you want it to be kind of all in one, like near each other. So I'm going to draw a few overlapping circles down here, another circle over here, a few smaller circles in between. I can even do a circle over here. Some smaller bubbles over there. Okay, you want to make sure they're different sizes, so a few small ones, a few bigger ones, and overlapping ones, and ones that are farther away, not overlapping. Okay, so I think I'm done. I'm gonna do another two bubbles down here, maybe one more here. And now we're ready to start coloring them in. So you're gonna pick a color. Let's say I'm gonna start with orange. It doesn't really matter. You can use all the colors in the rainbow. And I'm gonna start with this one over here so that you can really see it. You wanna zoom in on this one? Ralph, just watch your arm. So you're gonna make a curved line along the inside of the bubble on the top and on the bottom. So kind of like two parentheses. Not outlining the whole entire bubble, but curving at the top and curving at the bottom. I'm gonna do the same thing to a bunch of other bubbles. Curving at the top, curving at the bottom. You can actually use different colors. I'm just gonna do a few in orange, and then I'm gonna move on to some different colors. I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna do this one. All right, I'll stop here and I'm gonna switch to a different color. Let's say I'm gonna use this purple now. So I'm going back here because it's easiest one to see. Oh, I forgot my biggest bubble. I'm also gonna outline, not the whole entire thing, but along random parts of this big bubble shape. Then you're gonna switch to a different color. And you're going to do a smaller, we're getting closer to the center of the bubble. So we really were on the edges. Now we're getting a little bit closer. And I'm gonna do the same thing here, here. I'm gonna do some here. The tiny bubbles, instead of doing 2, maybe you'll just do 1. Depends, if you're using very thick markers, you might not have so much room. And if they overlap each other, it's fine. You can make your colors overlapping. So let's make this here, here. So if it's the first time I'm using the purple in this bubble, I'm doing it all the way on the edge. If it's the second time, I'm getting a little bit closer to the center. All right, let me do some here on my huge bubble. And okay, kind of like dashed lines around the edges. Let's move on to a different color. I'm gonna use this light blue. And here, I'm going even closer to the center. And they're getting smaller. When they get closer to the center, they can get a little bit smaller. Here and here. I'm gonna do here. We're making little dashes of color. And here, you wanna leave the center kind of white. And again, I'm doing these tiny ones, so I'm just gonna do 1 line here. Here, this is my first time making any lines, so I'm gonna make them on the outer edge. Here, I'm gonna go inside. And here, I'm gonna do just a little coming out from there. Let's move on to this. Did I use this already? I don't think so. I'm gonna use a little pink. So my lines are getting smaller and smaller as they get towards the center. I'm gonna use this green. Oh, that's nice, that like a highlighter green. And remember, the middle is staying mostly white. So let's do a few dashes of color here. They're they're getting like kind of like commas. They're turning from like parentheses into commas. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna use a little bit of this color. Okay. So I think I'm pretty much done. Don't forget to color in the wand. I actually used a crayon to color in the wand. Now we're going to move on to, I'm going to show you how to do the little jar of bubbles. So I'm going to use a black. So first you're going to draw, this is if you did the goldfish drawing, then you kind of know how to make a cylinder. So I made it a little bit of a fancy shape, but I'll just demonstrate a simple cylinder shape. You make 2 lines. You don't want it to be too small. 2 lines. Then at the bottom, you're going to curve them. Curve it like this. And then at the top, you're going to curve it. This is a gigantic opening. I should have made it a little smaller. And then you're going to curve the top. So now we have like a cylinder shape. You can keep it, you can draw another line under here just to show the lid. You can draw some bubbles maybe coming out of here. If you want to show the lid is kind of open, you can do the same kind of oval shape like this, double it up. And if you want to draw like a bubble label, I want to point out when you're coloring in your bubble container, if you want to get it to look even more 3D, you'll notice that I used a crayon and I did some shading. So on the sides of the bottle, I'm going to show that it's a little darker by pressing a little bit harder, and at the center you press really, really lightly. You can do this with crayons or colored pencil or even regular pencil. It's called shading, and it really gives it that 3D look. And if you wanted to tape it to something where it can stand up, you know, that could be really nice. And here I have my cut out bubbles. So you could just tape it to a chopstick like this, and you have your bubbles. Can't wait to see you guys make your bubble creations.